Welcome back to you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Abel. There in the comment section is ever so interesting what happens in the comment section, and he always makes sure that he picks out, you know, those little things that you think you're gonna get away with. And I don't know about the Ben 10 part, okay? Yeah, we were not involved together, Pablo. Gonna be making sure that we land you into a perfect weekend as we usually do. And this evening we are speaking to a man that is doing sterlingly well. I mean, internationally well. His name is Tafara Nyatsanza. And hanging out with him, thank you so much for coming through to the Weekend Startup.
Thank you.
And first things first, let's talk about moving from Mutare, coming to Harare, straight to South Africa, then you land yourself to Hollywood. And what did you see yourself doing amazing things like this in life in general? I think, but no, Kura, you know, we never really see ourselves reaching such pinnacles, especially at such a young age.
Yeah, I suppose all of this started off at Bididi High School. Mm-hmm. I didn't do so well in my O levels, so I had to move to South Africa to repeat, so I could do better in my education. And there were drama subjects and dance subjects, and then I just threw myself in those subjects with all the passion that I had, and I guess I found the love of my life, which is acting.
Tell me something about acting. Does it not split you from who you are? I ask so because of TV and radio. There are days where you actually feel like there's someone else who comes out and does these things, and then you come back to character, or do you live in that character?
Oh, you don't live in character. I mean, you're trained to get into character and to manipulate the character, and then they don't train you how to get out. So that's like a personal journey that you have to go through. It's more of like a spiritual and psychological journey, to be honest, because I am Tafara, but when I'm on set, I have to be another character. There's not really like much of a difference of like, I'm becoming this person. It's just an extension of who I am within that character, of what I would do as that character. 2020,
you were in a horror film, Spell.
Yes.
Now, I think that is just a second level extension of getting out of character or getting into character. I don't know if maybe that would be adding to the character that you are as Tafara. Talk to us about being in a horror film entirely.
Well, now you're talking about Spell. That was my first feature film. So I had never been in a film until that. And the character I had to play, he was actually a nameless character, and he just had to be like this eerie, weird guy. And I guess the question that actors ask themselves every time they approach a character is, what would I do if I was the character? That's how you basically have to
getting into his shoes.
Yeah, getting into his shoes. How would he feel? What would he think? How would he think? Where is he coming from? Who are his family members? All those questions. You have to sort of create a biography for your character all the time. And sometimes it may be close to who you are, and sometimes it may be very far, and it just depends on the character.
Let's talk about sacrifice. And when I ask sacrifice, I'm looking at your hairstyle, and I know this one thing, especially when it comes to dreadlocks, it's really and truly part of who you are. Now, sacrifice. Let's say there's a role you have to play and you have to cut off your hair. Would you do something like that for the love of your career?
Of course I would, but then with things like hair, they ask you if you're willing to cut it. Sometimes they offer you a fee to cut your hair, and then it depends on
if it's good enough, you will.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, come on now. Let's talk about you also being a music producer, and you getting into theater and that whole mix. I mean, it all takes creativity. This much I know.
Most definitely.
But how do you then balance it all out?
Well, I love the things that I do, so I never feel the pressure of like I'm juggling too many things. Because when I'm not acting, I'm either producing a song, or I'm writing a story, or I'm drawing, or I'm just skating or cycling. You know, it's as close to that. It's in as much as it started off as a hobby, it's something I take seriously because it helps me be who I am. There's never a point where I'm just sitting doing nothing. I'm always thinking creatively and applying myself in a creative way.
So now you've landed yourself in, I think, what I think is such a great pinnacle. The Beast, it's a Hollywood movie. I think from Zimbabwe we've taken the likes of Danai Kurira. We've also taken the likes of Tendai Chirisa.
Tongai Chirisa.
Tongai Chirisa, yes. I mean, excuse me there. I absolutely love him. And also he is featured on Netflix films as well as you have. Talk to us about reaching such levels. It's one thing to do South Africa, it's another thing to do Hollywood.
Those things are quite normal in the industry, you know. it's like working for different TV channels.
Yeah.
You know, the procedure is the same, and yeah, I mean, I joined the acting agency. And they got me the auditions for the roles I had to audition for. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. And when you get it, it's like, yes. But when you celebrate, it's more of like, I got a job, and I've got something to do, and I'm gonna get paid for it. You don't really celebrate the fact that you're on Netflix or you're on Mnet or whatever. That's not really what we look forward to as actors. We look forward to getting a role and executing the role quite well.
You're talking about how it's maybe not for you, it's not so exciting to be on Netflix and everything, but I'm sure for your family, it is something that you never get enough of. Talk to us about the support you get, or maybe you don't get.
I do get support from my family. Shout out to my mom, shout out to my brother. Where's the camera? Shout out to my brother, shout out to my mama, my grandma. They always support the journey. At first it was kind of weird of like, okay, this guy's doing arts and he's not a lawyer, he's not an engineer, he's not a doctor.
I know.
And then you sort of have to make them believe, like, you know, this is what I'm doing and I love doing it. And here are the results, you know, more on the financial side of like, okay, I got paid to do this, so I guess it's a job, right? And then they're like, of course. So they really support me in any way that they can. They pray for me, and that's most important.
It is mostly important. Now, listen, I think more often than ever, we get down on our knees and we pray for these things that we end up getting. And speaking of the things that we want to look at you and think, okay, this guy's done great, has done a lot. But 2023, listen, we're still going forward with this thing. What should we look forward coming through from you? Because if you've done Hollywood, one has to ask, what more can you give us? What more do you want to give us?
Well, I mean, my goal is to be a film director. So I write as well, and my experience in directing has been in theater. So I direct theater plays, but I would love to direct films eventually. So that's what I'm working towards. I can't say that for 2023. That's like a long-term goal. But for 2023, I'm just looking. I'm in Zimbabwe at the moment, so I'm looking to make connections with established people who are in the industry and working with them. And I'm also producing a lot of music, so you can expect some music.
Which genre do you?
Alternative sounds. So it's alternative anything. Anything I make is I make funk, dubstep, R&B, hip hop, soul, and jazz. But it's not your mainstream type of sound. Everything is.
Let's talk about your exposure. So one thing I know is, I globetrot myself. So when you go around, you see a lot of things that you maybe want to apply here or don't see here or want to see here. What's that like for you? You're in film at that level. When you come back to Zim, what are you hoping to see in the industry in Zim, maybe to put us on an international level as well?
I'm hoping to see collaborations amongst people in the industry, because I've been having conversations with some people, and you find that a lot of people are doing individual projects. And I don't think that's the way film works. It's a team sport, and everyone has to bring something to the table. So I feel like once people put their heads together and look at the standard, because the standard of filmmaking is the same anywhere you go. However, something is happening in the Zimbabwean industry where it's not really up to par. But once people can bring their heads together and focus on this thing, we can create that international standard of filmmaking in Zimbabwe. We have people that are doing that already, and we just need to get more people on board, I suppose.
Absolutely lovely. Listen, thank you so much for letting us tap into your life. It's been absolutely edifying, if I do say so myself.
Thank you.
I love shout-outs. I always say I yearn for the day that I'm the one being interviewed and I have to give shout-outs. I don't like to call them last words either, but what do you have to say to us on the weekend startup before we let you go?
Shout out to everybody who's an artist. I know how hard it is, and keep grinding. Rejection is not the end of the world, so keep pushing. Eventually it'll work out.
Absolutely lovely. Thank you so much. They're talking to Tafara. He is a Hollywood actor, but he is ours. He is Zimbabwean. Ever so proud to be hanging out with our artists doing sterling work. And also, please do not go anywhere. We still have our playlist, and making sure your Friday is lining out right. We will be right back.